Into tonight's class, I'll give you an update on Jerry Hollis. For those of you, if you're not on the church text yet, I sent one out last night. So Jerry was feeling chest pains the last couple days and thought it would go away. And so Monday he drove himself to the hospital, and they said, well, we're going to have to do a heart cath on you. He's had multiple heart attacks in the past. He's 80 years old. He's pastored with me here since 2008. And so he's been a part of this church since 2000. He was back in the 70s, though, at one time here at the church. So he's been a mainstay. But anyway, he goes and they do the heart cath. He has 100% blockage in one valve, 99% in another, and 80-something in a third. So they go in. Because he's 80, they're going to leave the 100%er alone. So they go in to deal with the 99% one. While they're putting in the stent, they nick the valve. It creates a problem. They have to shove a needle through the outside of his chest into the heart to draw the blood out, which is painful. He's awake for all this because they don't put you under for a heart cath. And so therefore, he is now trying to recover. Because of his heart rate and because of his blood pressure, they're not giving him very little pain medicine at all, and so he's having to kind of suffer through it. Chest is really hurting. Pain is causing him to throw up. You do the math. As soon as you're in pain because of your chest, you throw up from it, creates more pain, and this is a cycle. So he's not getting much sleep. So we'll keep you updated. I'm going to go up there again tomorrow. I fly out tomorrow night, so I'm going to go up before I leave, and I'll give everybody an update then. After that, Justin or somebody else will have to bump in from there. But he'll be in there for a few more days. As soon as this is over, as soon as he recovers, they got to get him back in and do the heart cath or the stents again. So he'll have to go through the surgery. So be in prayer for him, obviously. The other thing I would say, right now, let's limit the amount of people going up there just simply because he's not getting much rest. If you do go and you see him sleeping, just let it go and come back at a different time. I would tell you that to be the policy. Anytime you go to the hospital, see somebody, if they're sleeping, you don't know, they may have been up for 14 hours and they finally got to sleep, and now you're like, hey, how you doing? So let's make sure we give him that opportunity. So we're in part 10 of our series on sacred geometry and symbolism. And for those of you that maybe be following along online, some of you might know it in here. On part number 9, we got booted before it even got uploaded, and so we had to edit the video and then get it re-put up. I had to do a promo video in front of it to let everybody know that. We do put it on Rumble and Vimeo, but nobody goes to those. That's kind of the problem. And so it does take the wind out of your sails. And I've told my wife here recently, it's very, very hard to study these subjects anymore because they've cleaned the internet of a lot of the evidence that you can go and find this stuff and put it out. And then when you find it and you do put it out, then you get censored for doing so. And so that's very deflating. And so we're going to be doing it tonight, the next 2 Wednesday nights, and then we're going to go into summer break. And then as soon as summer break's over, Alan Shelby is going to kick us off with a whole, Monday, Tuesday night, Wednesday night of Baptist, independent Baptist history and why we are independent. And I'm telling you, if you haven't heard him do it, it'll rock your world. So, God of this world is Satan, okay? And the reason I want you to remember that, because 2 Corinthians 4:4 said the God of this world is Satan, and that the importance of that is because everything that we begin to show you here on these Wednesday nights is to remind you that the systems of this world that you were once a part of and that you've been extracted from through the blood of Jesus Christ and placed into the kingdom of his dear son, you got to understand the same way that God has a plan with his kingdom and he uses all of his resources to work that kingdom, Satan, on the other hand, has all his resources are working together to make his plan work. Now remember, his plan is to be worshiped and to be like the Most High God. which means everything working in that system out there is designed to bring worship to Satan. Now, it may not be on surface level, but ultimately that's the goal, is to get everybody worshiping Satan. Now watch this, okay? Now I want to bring this up because, since the last time we've met, we've got a new pope, okay? And I did a thing on the last pope, and we asked the question, is this the last one? Based upon a 12th century prophecy by a guy named Malachi, who was an Irish priest, and it seemed to fit almost perfect until we get to this last guy, and it doesn't fit. So you have to go, okay, it's either garbage or we're not seeing things correctly. One of the things I wanted to bring up that I do think is interesting about the prophecy of the popes and about the latest pope is, for the first time ever, we have an American pope. Grew up on the south side of Chicago, probably with Obama, all right? And yet here he is, and when I studied about who might be the next pope. Remember, we talked about Peter of Rome, and we've talked about, there was a Filipino guy, there was a guy from Nigeria. All the experts, whether that be Catholic experts or prophecy experts, no one saw that guy coming. No one had predicted that guy out of Chicago to be the next pope, which makes it really interesting. And what's really interesting is his main theme is unity, right? Now, if I went around this room and said, what are the qualities of a great church? I guarantee you unity would be at the top of your list, right? You can say, yeah. We'd all say that, right? Another quality of a great church would be that it's building. Like that things are happening, people are getting saved, that things are really going, right? Let me remind you that Genesis 10, there is absolute unity. And they're building a tower, and they're all on the same page. So just because a church is in unity and it's growing doesn't mean God's involved. And just because a church isn't in unity and isn't growing doesn't mean God isn't involved. That rocks your world a little bit, right? Because that's how we get taught. Hey, man, if a church is growing and there's unity, man, God's moving. Well, I'm telling you, if you just take the Bible, the first place where we have unity and growth is the Tower of Babel, okay? And this guy is screaming unity, 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 okay? Now, what's interesting, and the reason I show this on the screen, and every time I bring up Trump, I got to give a disclaimer. Guys, I voted for him 3 times. If there was an election today, I'd vote for him for the 4th time. I'm a pro-Trump as far as president, okay? Definitely based on the options that we've seen come along. However, this was kind of interesting to me as a Bible believer that a sitting president would put this out right before we get an American pope. Especially when you read prophecy and you can't see America in the prophecies. You just go to Ezekiel 38 and 39, there's a small snippet about America there, and that's it. And you literally, and we are the superpower, so you got to wonder what is on the horizon for this country. So that's just a little side note. So let's get into symbolism and sacred geometry here on the 10th part. And we've entered into the sub-series under here called Hollywood Symbolism. And the reason being is because the Hollywood symbols are what they use to reach the masses, okay? Now, Francis Bacon, who I believe is the real William Shakespeare, said this: it's easier to teach your audience with entertainment than with lecture. Okay, that's not really that hard. We understand that. We were talking, Bill and Melissa was talking about their granddaughter who's 4, talking about, how Jesus died for our sins, how he went into a tomb for 3 days. Okay, she's 4. How does she know that? It ain't because she sits and listens to Justin go on for an hour filling out her hand notes, It's because we bring her into the children's church, and through entertainment, we teach her the truth about God's word. Okay? God realizes this, and we even do it now, okay? I even say, even from a standpoint when we were teaching the adults, humor and maybe some cracking some jokes from time to time to where you guys can stay tuned in helps you learn these processes. The reason we use PowerPoint is because we are visually designed. And so Francis Bacon understood this and said, man, if we really want to get our ideology in these people, we need to do it through entertainment, not lecture. Okay? Now, then when you take what Manly P. Hall says, that these ancient symbols are designed to convey truth, their truth, about demonic entities and about evil things, in our terms, and how do we pass this down from generation to generation, from language to language, and from culture to culture? He says, so how are you going to do it? Because you can't do it out of language. Well, we have to do it out of symbolism. So when you take Manly P. Hall and you take Francis Bacon's ideology and you put the two together, now you got Hollywood. Now you have an ability to convey this symbolism into people's lives, and they don't even know they're being taught. That's what that whole entertainment thing is. So the number one watched show anywhere is the Super Bowl halftime. It's even more than the Super Bowl itself. There are people who tune in to the halftime show who don't even watch football, okay? I don't watch any of it. I'm in bed by that time. But here's the deal, okay? Now, in the 1970s, marching bands were chosen from colleges. You can go back and look at this, all right? In the 80s, marching bands from colleges and select performers would come along beside those marching bands. All right? In the 1990s, major changes started in 1993 when Michael Jackson became the main and only performer. There was no marching band. And ever since that, especially in the 2000s, in 2004, with the most searched image of all time. Is that the year you were there?
Which year was it?
What's the one with...
That would have been right around that.
Yeah, Janet Jackson...
It was Super Bowl 38.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's the Carolina Panthers thing. Okay, so, yeah, now, so what's happened is they've used this, and what I'm going to go ahead and tell you my thesis is they used this halftime show to perform a demonic ritual on the whole country. And we don't even realize they're doing it. And we're going to show some of that. Now, we started a couple weeks ago with Madonna in 2012. Okay, she comes out looking like ISIS. You have the two poles of Freemasonry. You have the Egyptian symbolism, and she has the ISIS horns here with the star and looking like Baphomet, all right? And then you come along, and she has, not only with her outfit here, but she has the as above, so below symbolism that comes through Freemasonry. Now remember, to kind of bring you to speed, Freemasonry, Kabbalism, it's all the same thing, okay? So all of this isms that are coming together are all the same thing. And Vinny said this Sunday, and he was dead on the money. There are two religions. Those who trust in Christ and Christ alone to get them to heaven, and then everything there else is demonic. I don't care what it is. If you believe in working your way to heaven, it's demonic. That is not a godly thing. God has never asked you to work your way to Him. Matter of fact, He worked His way to you so that you wouldn't have to work your way to Him because He knew you couldn't. Now, so we have the as above, so below, and in the tarot cards, it's the same thing. It's magicians. And this is Baphomet. It's the exact same symbolism. Then we showed her how she is a picture of ISIS. Notice the horned head setting here, the wing disc on her, and then here you go. It's the exact same thing. Guys, this isn't by chance. All right, now watch. All right, here are all the Egyptian soldiers out in front of her, and here she is. She's got the M for Madonna. Maybe it's for Madonna. Let's hold that M thought with an X and an O around it. Okay, pay attention to that. Now, This was the stage that night in 2012. Notice the all-seeing eye down here at the bottom and one in the background. All right? Here's a different view of this. And remember, the all-seeing eye, the winged disk of the sun, which, once again, here's the M, the X, and the O. That's important that you're picking up on that. Now, then we skipped ahead from 2012 to 2015, 2 weeks ago, to deal with Katy Perry. And the reason I brought in Katy Perry's Super Bowl was because, now she's an astronaut, okay? She's went up in space and all this goofiness that we expose. Now, here she is riding in on the beast with an outfit that is designed for the Symbolic festival that was going on that day, which goes back to Isis. And remember, Revelation 17 says the great whore rides the beast. So she is playing the part as the whore of Babylon. And by the way, non-Christians know this. Okay? Now, here's the checkered floor that you see in all Masonic Freemasonry. It's all about duality. As above, so below. Yin and yang. It's duality. Female, male. Now, she came in on a shooting star, or what we know as a falling star, which is, according to Scripture, a fallen star is a fallen angel. Okay? Now, we're going to pick up tonight with Beyonce, okay? This is 2013, so Madonna was 2012, and then 2013, Beyonce comes along, all right? And she's holding up the pyramid symbol that you see tons of Hollywood people do. And it's really connected with her husband, Jay-Z. And they'll say, Corey, you're just making this stuff up, because after all, that symbol is a symbol of his clothing brand Rockaway Clothing. And that's called the rock symbol. Now, they may call it that, but that symbol was around long before Jay-Z and Beyonce ever hit the planet. And it's the all-seeing eye pyramid, right? And now, watch this. This triangle symbol is utilized by magicians in order to conjure up demons inside of them. They think that they can summon these demons and negotiate powers from them, and the triangle contains their embodiment while they do so. In other words, when they get on stage, why they're doing that is because they're trying to invoke demonic entities to come inside of them and to perform through them. Now that, as Christians, as Bible believers, that shouldn't be that big of a stretch. Now, I'm doing it right now, but hopefully every Sunday, Justin goes into a pulpit praying that the Holy Spirit of God does the same thing inside of him. Takes control. I mean, we talk about the unction of the Holy Spirit. We talk about God's Spirit moving in such a way. And I've even said it for years, God, I need you to use me like a tool. I need you to open my mouth and speak through it. Now, we would say that in a Baptist church and nobody would think nothing about it. But then all of a sudden they go, well, they do the same thing, asking demons to do the same thing through them. And then all of a sudden we're like, I don't know about all that, Corey. That sounds a little crazy. Well, why is it crazy when we do it every Sunday? We're just doing it from a different power than they do. Now check this out. So here she is with the Rockaway symbol, right? Now, this symbol has been around for years. Matter of fact, this is a tomb of a rabbi who was involved in Kabbalism. This is where this comes from. Kabbalism and Freemasonry are one and the same. It's the exact same setup. It's just under different titles, okay? Now, this is your boy Warren Buffett who's doing it. This is Rihanna. Notice the eye is blacked out in the song We Run This Town. She's doing the same thing. Now, I could have spent the next 10 minutes showing you actor after actor after actor that does that symbolism. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, after all, Corey, I mean, that is his clothing line. Well, at what point do the statistics prove It's no longer a coincidence. They're always doing it, and they're always doing it on stage. And yet, if you study the symbolism, the guys that are in the know will tell you, no, that's the symbolism to conjure up the demonic being to take over. Okay, now, hang on. Now, how many guys have ever heard of Sasha Fierce? Anybody? Okay, Sasha Fierce is the alter ego of Beyonce. All right, so on this album, Beyonce, I Am Sasha Fierce, here is the good, innocent Beyonce. Here is the Sasha Fierce. Okay, and what they're trying to show you is the good angel and the bad angel. You ever had that little thing? By the way, I have that thing. It's called the old man and the new man. And the old man's like, let's do it. And the new guy is going, no, we better not. Right? So now notice this. Here's what she says. This is a quote. When speaking to Oprah, here's what Beyonce says about Sasha Fierce. I have someone else that takes over when it's time for me to work and when I am on stage. This alter ego that I have created that kind of protects me and who I really am. Now notice the word she uses. I have somebody else that takes over. Now, once again, I'm going to get up and I'm going to teach tonight. I'm asking the Spirit of God to help me. But we don't go to the level of we're out of control. That we're in a trance and that's Pentecostalism, by the way. I'm in full control of my faculties, and the Spirit of God is there to guide me and bring to my mind the things that I've studied, which is why you have to study, because you can't bring things to your mind that you haven't studied. All right? And so, bottom line is, this is what's going on here. Now, notice the difference. It's the same girl, right? Okay, now pay attention. All right, now, I want to see if I get kicked off. Now, let me just say this for those on YouTube. Those of you in the class, you're about to see a video. If you're watching on YouTube and there ain't no video, look in the links below. That means we've had to edit the video again. All right, so let's watch and see what we can find out. Oh.
Performs. Is Sasha Fierce, when does she show up?
Usually when I hear the crowd, when I put on my stilettos, when like the moment right before when you're nervous and that other thing kind of takes over.
The other what?
Sasha Fierce appears, and my posture and the way I speak and everything is different.
But no, is it like a process that happens too? Like you were talking about the high heels, like once the lashes go on and the makeup and all that stuff.
It's kind of like when I do a movie, becoming the character. Once you put on the wig and once you put on the clothes, you walk different.
Yeah.
It's kind of this character that I've created over the years.
And how is Sasha Fierce different than I Am?
Well, I know, definitely wearing that bodysuit, I can never walk out here and do that.
Does Sasha Fierce ever go home? Like,
sometimes, but not often, only on special occasions.
Show up shows up sometimes at the house. Yeah.
But definitely when I'm nervous or whenever I have to perform, whenever I have to do choreography or something that's difficult, and it's no different from anyone else. I feel like we all kind of have that thing that takes over.
So, hi YouTubers, I'm excited to give you.
All right, notice that thing that takes over? The terminologies they're using is exactly demonic possession that comes in and takes over the control. It's called your alter ego. Now, one of the things that you'll understand as we get a little further down the road, hopefully before the end of the month, on MK Ultra, that when you shatter a person's brain, they work from what's called alters. In other words, this part of my brain is this person, this part of my brain is that person, and a lot of it works off of the mental side of that, but you also need to understand there is a spiritual entity that works off of that. When the maniac of Gadara came along, there's actually two of those guys, by the way, but when Jesus talks to him, he asks, what's your name? Legion, for we are many. You know that whole thing, you clean yourself up, and then talking about the house, and you get it all swept, and then even more come in. So it's not when a lot of things that we think, well, that person's bipolar. Are they? And what exactly is bipolarism? I'm getting in an area that's going to get me in trouble, but I'm just showing you it's something that's taking over and making this person act a certain way. Now, here it is. Here is Sasha Fierce over here. So this is her as Beyonce, as the altar taking over. Notice the goat on the front of her outfit. Sasha Fierce is wearing a metal plate featuring predominantly the face of Baphomet, who is the feature on the sigil of the Church of Satan. This is the Church of Satan. You got the goat face, and it's right there. Now, once again, you could say, Corey, you see that goat face everywhere. Because it is everywhere. All right, now watch. Here it is again. The theme of the album, I Am, Sasha Fierce, revolves around the duality between the godly Beyonce and the evil Sasha Fierce. The spiritual duality is found in the songs and in the pictures and the videos. Notice on the above images the Christian cross on the good and pure on this side, right? But Sasha Fierce is mimicking devil horns on this side, okay, with her hands. Songs like Ava Maria and Halo on her album contain obvious spiritual undertones and can be interpreted as either religious songs or odes to her satanic possessor. The persona of Sasha Fierce, who is presented as a separate entity, always wears heavy makeup on her eyes, if not sunglasses, which represents her deceptive nature. Now, I'm going to show you this because we talk about MK Ultra. I want you to watch this lady. This is Beyonce and Jay-Z, and I think they're at the Knicks game. They're at a basketball game during a halftime or during a timeout, and I just want you to see what's going on here.
What's going on, everyone? Press reset here, and what I'm about to show you is a little disturbing and very telling.
Watch her
as to what
face.
goes on in the Illuminati-controlled music and entertainment industry. Now, this is a video that just got released in the past 24 hours of Beyonce and Jay-Z at a basketball game. I have to double check and see what game it was, but quite frankly, it's irrelevant. The fact is, it happened recently, and you're going to see Beyonce in a trance-like state, okay? Now, there's only one of two possibilities here, and I'm going to lean toward the latter. But the first possibility is that she's under the influence of some sort of drug, some sort of heavy drug, not just alcohol, folks, okay? You can tell this is something a lot stronger, okay, if that's the case. The second possibility is that she is under some form of mind control. Now, I don't just say that for no good reason. The Illuminati is notorious for controlling their assets via mind control, MK Ultra, CIA mind control. This woman is a victim, okay? Now, she has been known to flash Illuminati symbolism, as well as her husband, who seems to be her handler. Okay, the powers that be hijacked Hollywood and the music industry a long time ago in order to mind control you, okay? It's called propaganda, and they've perfected it over the years. I'll get a little more into what's going on here, but first, let's check out this video. It's quite disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. No doubt in my mind this woman is in some sort of trance right now. Notice the blank stare in her eyes. She's swaying back and forth as if she doesn't have control of her own body, okay? Just disgusting, and I feel so bad for this girl. I really do. I mean, what's going?
Now, I could show you more of it, but you get the idea. Now, if you say, well, she's just kind of spacing out right now. This is a woman who makes her living off of performance. She's at a basketball game, and I don't know what you know about basketball, the Jack Nicklaus's and the Spike Lee's and all the famous people sit down there on those front row. Justin's sitting down there with 2 Chainz half the time, and the deal is everybody's watching you, and you know they're watching you. You would be performing. The problem is she's spaced out. And I believe she's probably somebody who started out in life probably just as innocent as all get out, and they have manipulated her to a point where her mind's broken. That's what MK Ultra is, and we'll get more onto that. But notice here, holding up the 666 fingers, that's what that symbolism is, 666. That's not my opinion. Go on the line, you can find that out. That's not some Baptist slant. They'll teach you that, okay? They got the 666 fingers over the eye. They got the triangle over the all-seeing eye here. This is a monarch butterfly on her face. Same, once again, one eye. Now, why the monarch butterfly? Because that is the symbolism of women that are involved in the Monarch program, which is what MK Ultra has shut down. Now, once again, this is not conspiracy theory. This can be found with CIA documents in the 1970s. They actually had court documents going on, and they supposedly shut it down. Oh, okay, well, they just reopened it up in what's called Project Monarch, okay? And the reason they call it the Monarch butterfly is because when you go through the electric shock that they cause to go into your body, then what happens is you have this weightlessness and this floating ability in your mind like a monarch butterfly. But the other thing it is remember, monarch butterflies start out as caterpillars, go into a cocoon, and come out a whole different creature. And that's what MK Ultra is. We take this individual here, we put them in the cocoon of shattering their mind, and now we get to control them, and they always have a handler with them. And those handlers are always by their side, hence Jay-Z. Now, here's a ring. For those of you that keep saying, well, you keep seeing that goat everywhere. Okay, once again, here it's upside down because of the way she's holding her hand. But here's the goat horns here and the head of the goat here. Once again, why would you have that? If everything is just innocent and Corey just so happens to see conspiracy theory everywhere he looks and he's the nut job, okay, then why would you have a goat as a ring? I mean, which woman would you... think about it, gentlemen. If you took that home for your anniversary and said, hey, honey, I got you a new ring. No woman is going to go, that's what I've been waiting for. It's gorgeous. I can't wait to tell everybody. That's hideous. All right? Now, here she is in this outfit, and I want you to remember this outfit because I'm going to come back to it when we get to Lady Gaga. But notice the horn-looking headdress that she has on with this multi-colored, it's probably hard for you guys to see. There's a red jewel here. There's a blue one here. The rest of them are in diamonds. We got gold and all this sparkle. Pay attention to the outfit. Now, here she is when she's supposedly pregnant, and she is dressed up with like ISIS, and now she's got the headdress on with the spray of ISIS on her head. Now, the reason why I say, and I didn't put the video up here because I thought I was going to get in trouble as many videos I've showed anyway, but you can go online and find this. She's going in for an interview and she's pregnant, okay? Now, I've never been pregnant, but I'm married to a woman who's had 3 kids. I don't have Justin's experience, but I've got some experience of understanding what a pregnant woman is like, okay? And notice, here she comes walking in. Everything's looking normal. She starts to bend down, and I don't know if you can see it from where you're sitting on these screens, but all this is available. By the way, you know where I got these pictures? TMZ. It wasn't some backwoods conspiracy place. As she bends down, the thing just kind of folds up. Now, as I said, I've been around my wife pregnant, and nothing was folding up. It was literally waddling everywhere, okay? And yet, here she is, just folding up. And you say, well, what's that got to do with the Illuminati? Well, it's because everything you see is fake. Everything's a show. Nothing's real. Everything is done to bring propaganda to you to make you think a certain way. And do you know how many women worship this lady? If you've been watching Grammys, and we'll get to them next week, every time a woman gets up to win a Grammy of any kind, watch who she thinks. It's Beyonce, because she's a witch, all right? Now, she has a album out, or she had a song out, excuse me, not an album. On an album, she had a song called XO. Now, once again, I'm building up to that because there's an X and an O, X and an O, and this thing keeps showing up, and you're going to find out it is actually the mark of the beast that's coming along in Revelation. Right? Now, so then we got done with 2012. We jumped, that was 2013. Now we're at 2014 with Bruno Mars, okay? Here's Bruno Mars on stage. The stage is in a checkerboard fashion. The back of it has the all-seeing eye triangle floating around. And in this, Bruno Mars shouts, "Illuminati now," during his performance. And once again, don't believe me, you can type in this and go to YouTube and find it. It'll show it to you. Now, that same Super Bowl, so we jumped to 2016. I was going to show you some more of that, but we're running out of time. But watch this. 2016, we've got this stage going on right here. The Broncos are going up against the Panthers. And I want you to notice this X-style stage here with all the colors. Now, who it is Beyonce again with Coldplay. Okay? Now, this is the two. Notice her outfit and notice this loony job guy. All right? Watch. That is what the stage looks like in the center, and it's called the flower of life. This is sacred geometry. Now, once again, I may be making all this stuff up, but how many times can I keep presenting more and more evidence before you go, yeah, it can't be a coincidence anymore? Every single time they do a Super Bowl halftime, sacred geometry and sacred symbols of the Illuminati shows up. Now notice it. All right, remember this? When we were teaching this is the flower of life. It's also known as the fruit of life or the Metron's cube. Okay? And if you'll remember, it started out as Pisces, and then it grew into the triqueta, which is on your New King James Bible, and you just keep adding circles to the flower, and it keeps adding. So once you get to the flower of life, it's got all of them in there. The 5-pointed stars in there, the pentagram, the hexagrams in there. They're all inside of that geometry. That's why it's on stage. Notice it wasn't just on the stage, but it's on their drums right here in the background. Now, the flower of life contains within it various other sacred geometry symbols like the 6-pointed star, the 7 chakras, the Kabbalistic tree of life, and the ruins. Also, by adding more circles to the flower of life, you can have many other sacred geometry symbols like the fruit of life, Metron's cube, and Platonic solids. Now, which means inside of that symbol that you saw on that stage and what's on that guy's drums is the Kabbalah tree of life, the 7 chakras. Once again, Freemasonry and Kabbalism is the exact same thing, just branded and repackaged in a different way. And now here it is. Now think about how many times you've watched a Super Bowl halftime and never even picked up on it. Yet going back to Francis Bacon and Manly P. Hall, they're putting it out there. And nobody realizes it. Now, here it's also known as the fruit of life, Metron's cube. Now, remember, the cube, the reason this is called Metron's cube is because when you take the cube of Saturn, which is why black cubes get worshipped everywhere. When you take this cube that is 3-dimensional and flatten it, you get a 6-sided section. That's Saturn right there. That is a image of Saturn through a telescope. Now, here's Beyonce. Now, hang with me on this Saturn thing. She's dressed in all black with a what on her chest? An X. Pay attention to that X. Now, notice the floor, the black cube. Now, when you stand back and look at the cross section, and it's a cross, black cube, tree of life, or flower of life. It's right there. But nobody notices it because we're all going, ooh, it's Coldplay.
Well, all those people dressed in black, that's a six-sided cube there.
Right. Oh, right here? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I see that now. All right. So, I mean, and that's the issue, guys, is because of entertainment, you're having a ritual performed on a country, and then we don't even know it's being done. I mean, things are happening. Like, let's be honest. We pray before we're going to have a service, and we're asking the spirit that you cannot see to move inside of a service. I mean, this last Sunday, we had people coming in here, you know, Vinny's preaching, he's giving the Word of God. People are lost. We're asking God to move. They may have came in and sat down and didn't even have a clue of what was going on. We did. I've been in services where I knew the Spirit of God was moving. That doesn't mean everybody in the building recognized it. And so the bottom line is they're doing the same thing through their rituals. Now, let's get into February the 5th. This is 2017. This is Lady Gaga. Okay, and we're going to park it on her for just a little bit. All right. Now, notice the stage. We've got stars on the outside. Stars always show up. Remember, the five-pointed star is the pentagram. The pentagram is the greatest symbol to invoke demonic activity. That's their words, not mine. Aleister Crowley is the one who trained everybody to use the star and the pentagram to be able to invoke the dark side. Okay? Now, notice the stage. It's checkerboard. Now, for those that are still buying into the Freemasonry stuff, how many checkerboard floors can you see before you start to realize, these things must be connected? Like, it really doesn't take a deep person to realize if something keeps showing up, there must be something up with it. Right? Now, here's the stage from a different view of it. The stars are on the outside, and we have duality, as above, so below, right in the middle. Now, here's your winged disc that was going on in Egypt, and notice where she's performing. This is Lady Gaga. Why in the world does the Egyptian symbolism keep showing up in America? Nobody wants to know that? I mean, I would think somebody would stop and go, All right, now here she is with a star staff again, okay? By the way, yes, and I'm going to get to that. She is ugly. I'm sorry, if you think that lady's hot, you've lived in Alabama too long. Now, here it is. I said this earlier about Beyonce's outfit. And I showed you the multiple colored stones and the reflection and the diamonds and all that. Notice the different colors she has, and it looks like fire coming off of it and all the different colors. It reminds me of Ezekiel 28 when Lucifer led the sons of God in worship to God. Now, what do you think these women are doing? They're leading the world and the world system to worship their God. And how are they doing it? The same way their father taught them. What did he do? Ezekiel 28:13. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering. Sardis, topaz, and diamond, and beryl, onyx, and jasper, sapphire, and emerald, and carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. Do you know what he did? He was the worship leader. Do you know what specifically did? Led them in music. And his instrument was his body. And he's got all these. Listen, if somehow God could take you back in time and let you see that, you would see one of the most beautiful creatures you've ever witnessed in your life. We've made it up in our life that Satan is this, blah, just look like a swamp thing. He's gorgeous. Outside, Christ was not a created being. So when I say this, Satan as Lucifer was the most beautiful thing God ever created. And he led the sons of God in worship. And it's interesting how they all keep mimicking it. Now, here is one of, this is called Alejandro, which is one of her music videos. Notice the all-seeing eye on the back of their coats. You can see it here. And then notice the 666 symbol that she's holding up. Once again, it could be just a coincidence. Now, the lightning bolt that shows up on her album cover and on her eye patch, what does that look like to you? There's a group of Germans, police force called the SS. They had a lightning bolt as their symbol. If you understand, Hitler was a deep studier of the occult, to the point that they studied that on levels, him and Goebbels and all those guys, Himmler, they were deep into the occult. And so a lot of their symbolism came from the occult. But notice that the lightning bolt always ties into the Kabbalistic tree. That's what that lightning bolt figure is. I didn't put the verse up here, but do you remember what Jesus said about Satan? He beheld Satan falling like what? Like lightning. Right? So a lightning bolt is tied into Satan. Okay? Now, here's once again another album cover of hers where she has that two-finger and thumb thing going on. Like, you guys get nervous because I'm doing it in here, like I'm going to start invoking something. And then she's got an all-seeing eye in her palm, and she has as above, so below. It's the Baphomet symbol being done right in front of you. Now, she has Baphomet horns going on right over here. She has the horns here with the wings on it. Because remember, in their view, certain cherubs and seraphims have wings. That doesn't mean every angel has wings. But those certain cherubs did. Do you remember what Satan was? He was the anointed cherub. Right? So they show up with these wings all the time. Now pay attention to that, because here's some more symbolism. The lightning bolt, one eye covered. 666 symbol with one eye showing. One eye showing. The V symbol for victory, remember, which is what Aleister Crowley said is what trumps the swastika symbol, is the V symbol. Here it is, one eye showing. Another one eye showing. All right? Now, here she is playing with her wings broken around a piano. It is a symbolism of Satan. Now, once again, here we go back to, we've got the all-seeing eye dressed up. She's over here dressed up with an anubis, which is this half dog, half person. Now, not to freak you out. I don't know that why anything would freak you out at this point. But in Genesis 6, when the angels came down and mixed their seed with human women, it wasn't just humans being corrupted with angelic beings, but they were mixing DNA, so you had satyrs and you had all kinds of animals being mixed. The reason why God had to create a flood was he not only had to purify the human race, but he had to purify the animalistic race, because the animals had been tainted, and that's why he was like, 2 by 2, you got to bring them in here, because we have got to flood this thing out to get rid of all this stuff like this. And so when you go to ancient cultures and you see this and you're going, that couldn't have been real, broaden your horizons a little bit. Believe Genesis 6 a little bit different than you do. But notice here she is with them, dressed up like them. Here she is with a ball and chain kind of thing going on, but notice the pyramid. Once again, it's everywhere. Here she is in the spirit cooking. I've taught this multiple times. It's the most disgusting thing I can possibly teach in this class. I don't know what else I can say about it. If you're not grossed out by it, you need help. All right, you can get counseling from Justin. All right, now this is Marina Abramovich and Lady Gaga. Okay, and they're involved in this spirit cooking thing going on. This is Maria's house in New York, and this is a 6-pointed star house. It was developed because of what Aleister Crowley, who went to New York in the same place to conjure up, and this is where he saw Lamb, the alien being that taught him all this, came from this same area. And what happens up at this house, this 6-pointed star house, she brings them in and brings them in into the Abramovich experience. And so they'll bring people like Lady Gaga and put them through this testing to show them how to conjure up the evil forces into their life. Now, Lady, this is the two of them, by the way. We've already stated she's probably a man. I don't know if you can get a good look at it. That's the ugliest dude ever. Like Maria Abramovich is just ugly. I mean, and given the atmosphere of today and what's being pushed with the transgenders and all that transitioning going on, there's no doubt in my mind that's a good possibility right there. Now notice here, Lady Gaga has been hailed as the hardcore student who was incredible to work with by performer artist Maria Abramovich. This week saw the unveiling of a promotional video of Lady Gaga demonstrating Serbian artist Abramovich method as part of the Kickstarter campaign to launch a new institute for the art. The video features Lady Gaga showing off some of the mental and physical exercises, including walking naked, blindfolded through that's supposed to say forest, all right? I was very impressed with how humble and incredibly determined and hardcore this kid is, Maria revealed to MTV News this week. After the video premiered, she said, I want you to teach me. I want to be your student. Speaking of Lady Gaga with her. She is a hardcore student, she explained. I had to blindfold her, and she was in the forest for 3 hours eaten by mosquitoes and spiders, scratched by the bushes. It was quite incredible. Whatever I told her, she met the exercise absolutely to the end, never complaining. She added, my exercises are pretty tough. All right, now, I want you to notice this, and I'll try to fast forward some of this because we are running out of time. So, here she is coming out. Pay attention to her. No shoes on. So she's coming out, the crowd's seeing her. Watch her. Watch her blink. Count how many times she blinks. There you go. She's in a trance. Now I want you to pay attention to her bodyguard in just 1 second. Watch the guy. Watch the guy. Notice the hand gestures? It's going to become more defined. Now, you can go back and look at it. These are all online. You can find this. She is out there, dude. She's gone. Now, the sad part for me is I look at her and go, you realize that's somebody Jesus died for, who is now entangled with demonic beings that have her bound. And man, what she needs more than anything is for somebody to get to her with the gospel. Like I don't know how else to say it. I mean, look at her. That's not normal. And I'm not going to take you through the whole video, but she literally gets a little bit closer to that van and is in like lockdown mode. Something's happened to her. Now, let's look at Justin Timberlake. We definitely ain't going to have time, but notice Pink was there with Timberlake in 2018. All right? Notice the ISIS earrings. Now, how many times can it keep coming up, guys? All right. And then here's him singing. Remember, this is in Minnesota. Prince had died, and so he's singing a Prince song, and they're going to show Prince up on this screen, this sheet. And what you'll notice is right here, an image is captured of what's supposed to be Prince. Maybe you can better understand it there. Notice the devil fork tail that's come out. That's not Prince. They're trying to show you a demon. Now, we know that Satan doesn't have a tail. We're just showing you they're trying to betray that. Right? Now, here's, I want you to notice, I'm going to play this. This one will probably be the one that gets me kicked off. But Ed, pay attention. All right? Now, we'll put the link in below. The word M, the letter M, keeps showing up in the lights behind, along with pyramids with the lights. I want you to see it.
The National Football League welcomes you to the Pepsi Super Bowl 52 halftime show.
Watch the light show. Pyramids everywhere, but you're going to start seeing M. See the M? Keep showing up. Along with the pyramids here. Now, so that I don't get kicked off, let's try not to stay too long on that. Plus, we're almost done. Watch this. This is Super Bowl Atlanta 2019. There's your boy. All right. Now, this is Maroon 5, Adam Levine. Notice the t-shirt? Checkerboard. All right. Now, notice the X tattoo. Now, pay attention. Watch his hands. All right. That's a demonic hand gesture that he is doing right there on stage. All right. Notice the all-seeing eye tattoos. Now, notice the M with the V right here. Now, everybody's going to say, Corey, duh, it's maroon 5, and 5 is the number. That's letter V. You sure? I know it's maroon 5. You sure that M stands for that, or do you sure it ain't for Mason? The same way it was in the last video. And I showed you some M's in the earlier videos. The M keeps showing up. Notice, though, here they are on the stage. Now, we're going to get back to this next week, but here's your girl in 23, Rihanna, doing the same symbolism. I mean, even if it was for entertainment, well, what are you doing, Rihanna? That Beyonce did that 10 years earlier. That's played out. Come up with something new. So I'm way over on time. So God bless you. We'll see you all next week.